Hi everybody, I'm Dr. John Douillard, and today I want to talk about a very important vitamin, vitamin K or vitamin K2. New study came out showing that 97% of Americans are either deficient or getting insufficient levels of this really important vitamin. Vitamin K is one of the fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and K. And vitamin K is interestingly unique because it doesn't store in the body for a very, very long time. So we depend on it to get it from our diet. And if we don't get enough of it in our diet, that can create real problems, particularly with our heart. Vitamin K2 in particular activates these GLA matrix proteins that actually help take the calcium out of your blood and bring it to your bone tissue to support bone health and make sure it blocks the absorption of the calcium going into your tissues, particularly your arteries, developing arterial plaque and cardiovascular related issues, which is like a really big deal. And when we have a study that showed that they measured 452 people and 438 of them were deficient in vitamin K2, it was a powerful study. 97% of them didn't get enough of it, which puts us at a higher risk for taking the calcium in our diet and dumping it into our arteries, which is obviously a real problem. Now, it's not to be confused with vitamin K1, which you get in all the leafy green vegetables, which hopefully you're eating enough of those. And vitamin K1 can convert to vitamin K2, but really inefficiently. And very few people get their vitamin K2 from the vegetable diet, from the vitamin K1. That's generally not happening. Most people get their vitamin K2 from eating a diet that's high in foods that a lot of folks don't eat very much of anymore, which includes like organ meats. Eggs have been, a lot of people eat a lot of them. A lot of people don't eat eggs. Meat, beef, chicken, dairy products, cheese, fermented foods, organ meats like liver. Natto is one of the classic high source vitamin K2 products, foods on the market. So things like kimchi and natto are very, very valuable. And natto, for example, is a fermented soy product. And soy, for example, and I've got an article and a video coming up about soy, but soy in particular was considered a toxin in Chinese medicine for many, many years. And around the year 1400, a Chinese physician figured out a way to ferment the tofu and make natto, and it went from going on the toxic food list to going into their materia medica, a list of all their medicinal foods. So natto, really, really valuable to get get your vitamin K2 levels up. It's really, really important. One study, the Rotterdam study, showed that it was like about 4,000 men and women over 55 years old were in this study, and they found that they're taking about 32 micrograms of vitamin K2 per day, decreased the risk of dying of any type of cardiovascular disease, particularly related to plaque, by 50%. Other studies with over 16,000 people showed that we can reduce that risk by over 52%, and also showed that for every 10 micrograms of vitamin K2 that you get, you reduce your risk, your cardiovascular risk, by 9 or 10%. So when you're taking 32, that's going to be 3 times or 10 times or 30 times decrease the risk. And studies show that when you're looking at reversing some cardiovascular disease and removing plaque from the arteries, there are studies that show that taking as much as 180 micrograms per day can be very, very effective. The vitamin K2 is sort of very interesting. It's different than vitamin K1. Vitamin K1 is the vitamin that we think about blood coagulation, and vitamin K1 doesn't do anything for the heart. In reference to these studies on calcium arterial plaque, it doesn't really do anything, but vitamin K2 does. And it's specifically for activating these matrix proteins to take the calcium and put it into your bones and not into your arteries, which is important. The vitamin K1 is called phytoquinone, and vitamin K2s are called menaquinones. And the menaquinones have different types of the menaquinones. Ones that are either more highly absorbed and they last longer in your tissue, and the MK4 and the MK7 are the two that you want to be looking at. If you're looking at a supplement, you always want to be looking for a supplement that has the MK7, which is the one that will last the longest and actually absorb the greatest and give you the best benefit. And most of the studies that have been done on reversing or removing cardiovascular plaque out of your arteries was done on the MK7 form. So check out on my website, on my at lifespa.com/store, type in K2 Max, and that's our product that has the MK7. And you can read the science right there. And I also have an article right on my newsletter that's all about the 97% of the American population being deficient, or at least not getting enough of the vitamin K2. So it's really, really important. Maybe think about it. If you're not getting it in your diet because you're adverse to some of these foods that are classically meat-based, and you don't get enough of the fermented foods, then definitely be thinking about a supplement, because it's a big deal. It's a deficiency that very few people are really talking about or understand. And when you get over 50, you really start thinking about the amount of plaque that you're dumping into your arteries, because it's important definitely in the second half. So check that out. Read the article. Get acquainted. Get educated about this. This is really important. All right. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard.